Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Hey, welcome back, everybody. I'm gratified to know that more and more of us are taking a more holistic approach to our health. Yes, doctors are fine. Modern medicine has a place. Medication, yeah, okay. When you need it, when it works. But do you always need it? What about some of the more holistic approaches to making you feel better? And that goes even right down to anxiety, getting rid of that, depression, whatever's going on in your life. He helps in many different modalities as a healer, intuitive. He's also a coach, hypnotherapist, acupuncturist, does a wonderful job in Scarsdale, New York. And he's with us. Chris Distefano joins us on the program. How you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks so much for having me, Steve.
Lots to talk about. You offer so many different modalities at Scarsdale Health and Wellness, and one of them being acupuncture. And I would love to just focus a little bit on acupuncture today. So many of us have aversion to that, afraid of needles, certain things we've heard, myths. Want to break it all down. I heard recently that the needle that's typically used in acupuncture is so fine that a number of them could fit inside the needle that they use to maybe draw blood. Am I getting that right?
Yes. Your typical needle that I use would be about as thick as a cat's whisker.
Wow. See,
yeah.
Many of us don't picture that. We just think of a needle being jabbed in. And many patients tell you, I would assume, that they almost don't even feel it going in.
Well, that depends on the style. Going in, they usually don't feel it. Then depending on what I do, they may or may not. And that's particular and specific to the patient and what they need and what style resonates the best.
What are some of the things that acupuncture can support somebody for?
The short answer is everything. And I know that's a bit of a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. How is this one? I have to see 18 specialists for the various things in my body. Because with acupuncture, what we're doing is looking at the entire patient. We're working with the body to heal. We're not isolating a specific part of the body and targeting that to be repaired. So it's activating the body's healing ability. It's opening the body. Like one of the conditions I see all the time is migraines. I had a patient come in yesterday. I'd seen her before. She's older, and she started getting a real killer migraine. She went to the hospital. So she had just also been diagnosed, I believe, with leukemia. Goes to the hospital, and they run the necessary tests. She was in the hospital for 2 weeks. No relief. They did a spinal tap, MRI, CAT scan, etc. She came into my office because she knows that I can help. And literally 20 minutes later, we knocked it down about 70%. How? This particular case, I did something, and acupuncturists hate this term because it's a physical therapy term. Physical therapists started doing a particular style of acupuncture, and so they labeled it and marketed it. So that's what it's known as, dry needling. So this is the aggressive style that I do. And I went into a muscle called the SCM. It's right there on the neck. And the SCM refers pain. So when the SCM is in spasm and her neck was locked, she couldn't move her head when she came in. 2 weeks in the hospital. I don't know what they were doing for her. They did eliminate that it was anything dangerous. I give them credit for that. She couldn't move her neck. So I started doing dry needling into the SCM and a few other muscles on her neck. Gave her back range of motion and also alleviated the headache, because this referred pain is areas of pain or dysfunction that when the muscle is locked in a pathological state, also called spasm, it affects. So the SCM in particular, that can affect sinuses, frontal and maxillary, vertex of the head, the ear, and the back of the head. I had a different case, and sorry, but this one was cool.
Oh, I love stories. I think this is fascinating. How 2 weeks in the hospital, and I don't want to minimize anything, but just using dry needling gave her such relief. Amazing.
I don't know why they don't work on that muscle. Neurologists know that it affects, but they don't work on that muscle. I had another patient. This woman came in, her eye was red like a tomato. She had migraines. She went to this, that, and every specialist, including the neuro-ophthalmologist, who said, I don't know what it is, but no, acupuncture can't help. Because I'm sorry, but sometimes arrogance is an affliction. And it's really, really sad because these people are desperate for help. And to have a closed mind is really not doing them the service. She came in. As soon as she started talking, I brought out my book that shows the pain patterns, describes the symptoms. She fit it to a T. So she'd had this for about 2 weeks. Her eyes half closed. It's red like a tomato. I do this muscle. 5 minutes later, the eye opens. It starts clearing up. 2 visits later, she's back to being a normal person. And this is the funny part. This is why, and I'm not going to go into coaching today, but this is how I ended up in coaching, is underneath it is, why is the muscle tightening? You see, I can't fix, I can help. For her, stress ultimately was what was tightening the muscle. So we did have to discuss what's causing the stress, how are we addressing it, what steps can we take? Because the body causes the pathology, the mental and emotional states contribute to the pathology. It attacks the weak areas in the body. And this is part of how acupuncture treats every disease.
There's a reason it's been around for, dare I say, centuries. And
millennia.
Okay. And we're talking about it. We're still talking about it, but there's an aversion because it's needles. I would assume that people, or they don't believe that it's actually going to help and give relief. What do you hear from patients that kept them away, and then they finally came in, and then they said, "Oh, I can't believe why did I wait so long? This is wonderful."
The number one thing is my insurance doesn't cover it.
Really?
Doesn't matter how much money a person has. If they're spending money on insurance, they're going to keep doing insurance. But the problem is, how long do you want to suffer before you decide that you are worth that investment? How much is your pain and suffering worth to you that you're going to run around in circles and go for, at best, symptomatic relief, like the migraine treatments out there? And those, they end up paying a fortune out of pocket anyway. Those are generally very expensive and tend to not work long term. People tend to rebound, is what they call them, off of those. The needles, believe it or not, is not the biggest obstacle.
I'm surprised.
But yeah, me too. Some people are really some people are anxious, but once they get the first needle in, they're like, oh, that's no big deal. On the first treatment, generally, I pay close attention to the person. All the treatments I do, but I'm particularly, it's a dance. The whole thing is a dance. Because it's me feeling what their body, how much their body can handle, what the rate of change is going to be that's appropriate to them. And their body tells me where to go and what to do. So the whole treatment is a dance. And sometimes in the first treatment, see, the body, even if the person gets kind of chill, the body is still holding on to the nervousness. So I have to pay attention that I don't go faster than the body is comfortable with. Even if they're like, no, do this. I have to respect their body because I'm working with it. And I'm going to tell you, you've probably heard the body doesn't lie, right? Mm-hmm. So have I. But what they don't tell you, this is something I realized not too long ago, the body is a bit of a drama queen and certainly is not afraid to exaggerate and make a scene. So sometimes, the body wants to get listened to, and we don't listen to what the body's telling us. So after a while, it creates a lot of pain. So I have to...
Because it's like a child. It wants attention.
That's exactly it. So, and that'll get a person to think, the amount of pain that this woman had in her head, you feel like it's the end of the world. But it was really just a few tight muscles.
I am so on your page there about the body doesn't lie, and I'm going to guess that you're familiar with muscle testing.
I am so good at muscle testing. I got stories about muscle testing. I've upped it a level. It's a good time.
I don't know if we should even go there. Muscle testing is essentially non-professional explanation for me is your body has the answer. You use your muscles or somebody else uses it as a baseline to get the answer from your body. And I've tried doing it on my own. I've had some decent results. There's all different methods for doing it. Some work better for others.
I cannot test myself. They say do the pinky thumb O-ring and this and that. Can't do it.
Right.
But I don't know if you're familiar with David Hawkins' Power versus Force or Frederick Dodson or any of these guys. They have scales of consciousness. And they've actually calibrated the scales of consciousness using muscle testing because the body not only is not going to lie, but it's connected to the field. In other words, the body can tap into and is connected to high intelligence. It actually got to the point you've done muscle testing where maybe I'll press on the body, I'll press on your liver or whatever, and then put a supplement on you. Recently, I've gotten well enough into it. All I have to do is think about the supplement and I can test a person. And that's been 100% effective lately. I have to maintain focus. I can't start yammering. I have to be 100% present. It started with I'm like totally ruining these people that sell these vials full of testing stuff because literally if I write down the name of something and test it on you, it'll work. Now I've sort of like, you can't day one just think about things and test it, but I've done this long enough that I'm very, very comfortable with this dance.
And I'm familiar with that too. I've done podcasts with companies that sell, and it's different things. It could be a substance in a vial, or it could be, all right, here comes a woo-woo moment. The energy or vibration that's been saved in a vial that comes from a certain substance. And assumably, or we're told, that you put that on certain parts of the body to get a baseline and how your body resonates with that substance. I don't know if
I'm going to blow everyone. I'm going to blow everyone up, Steve. You could literally just write the name of everything on the label because all you're doing is using it as a placeholder for consciousness.
It's all about the intent. It's all about the intent.
It's only the intent. So, yes, it can become. When I started muscle testing, I called myself out on it. I'm like, this is totally awesome, but it's also kind of BS. It's consciousness connecting to consciousness. I just need a physical anchor to get the answer. So it's 100% awesome, but it's also because I don't trust that refined way of getting information directly from consciousness, I need the confirmation. And that's the muscle testing. And I love it. I like at this point, I'm like, yeah, fine. I'll keep the training wheels on. I'm happy with this.
I totally agree with you. I'm the same way. I need confirmation. I believe in psychics. I've worked with many, launched a lot of their careers. They're friends.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I believe everything. I'm like, show me more. Give me some more. And then when I can't punch a hole in the information that's given that is spot on, that leads me to say, well, you know what? This is legit. They have some kind of, I'm just giving an example, but I need the proof. I need the acknowledgement of something. I'm not just going to take, word that it works or it is what it is. And I'm going to go here too. There's got to be a fair amount of intuition that you put into what you do to feel comfortable.
So I described dry needling. Dry needling, I tend to gravitate towards more of the extremes. So dry needling is probably the most physical way of practicing acupuncture. I love it because it's really powerful and the results are instant. And that's actually one of the first intuitions that I've connected to where, let's say I work on your neck and I'll immediately, because what the beauty of the way I treat is I use very short feedback loops. What I mean is if you come in with a headache and you see a typical acupuncturist, and I'm not going to say anything else, they will do an intake, decide what to do, pop needles in, leave you in the room for however long, come back, pull the needles out, and say, I'll see you again in, 4 days. That's a 4-day feedback loop before they know if it was effective. What I'll do is I'll pop in needles and say, okay, turn your head now. All right, we're farther, but we're stuck over here. Pop in some more needles, release some muscles, turn your head now. So I'm doing feedback loops of 2 minutes. Now, what happened over time is if you do a movement and I'm looking at you doing it, I will intuitively know what muscle to go to. I'll be like, oh, there's a muscle in the middle of the, like, I'll just go there and pop a needle in and release a muscle. So that was the earliest intuition connection I was using. Now when I treat, this is going to be now the other side of the spectrum. So that's more physical. Now this is like highly energetic with some physical. Let's say you come in, I have a patient right now, I believe long-term spleen issue. And I'll put my hand over her spleen. I can feel it, and I'll palpate. This is called reflex testing. I'll palpate for tenderness or tightness. And then I wait for guidance. And I'm told where to put the needle. It's not based on theory or anything else. I'm told, okay, go here. Or I don't even use needles on some people. That's when I'll just touch and I'll connect the points. And that's, what's his name? Richard Bartlett? I think. Anyway, he does like quantum level stuff. So I'll do a multitude of techniques, often without needles, that I'm intuitively connected to in order to open up. See, at this point, a lot of problems are related to everything is vibration. Mm-hmm. There's ultimately everything's vibration. Now, if our core vibration has pathology, it's kind of like a brass instrument with mud on it, or a parasite of sorts. So I love when I'm told, if I'm doing, let's say, shoulder, and I'm given a point on the foot, and I put the needle in the foot, press the shoulder, no more pain, muscle is soft. Now I know I've cleared an entire meridian or a whole course through the body. So this is, you come in with a tight shoulder, I can stick needles right in your shoulder and loosen the muscle. That's going to be fantastic, fast, effective. Or I stick the needle in your foot, and that can loosen the shoulder. And that's going to be fantastic, fast, effective. And I believe in most cases holds longer because now we're shifting your body. And when I started doing these treatments, patients start having emotional releases. They start having deep levels of relaxation because now this is, and we're not going there today, but this is what I call somatic internal family systems, or somatic release. We're releasing trapped psycho-emotional spiritual energy, and it's real, and people will have, over time, they'll be less anxious, they'll be happier, because these traumas that they hadn't even been able to release in therapy because there's patterns and there's guarding to it, when the body releases it, because the body is an equal intelligence to the other intelligences we have, and there's at least two others. Left and right brain is what we generally call them. By releasing it through the body, it's also releasing that core vibration, and it can process through that way. So it's exceedingly powerful in conjunction with talking and doing coaching. Obviously synergistically, that's a whole other level.
I had no idea that you harness the power of energy until we started talking. I know that, lots of different modalities, herbal medicine, which, big fan of, mm-hmm. Actually kept me out of the hospital about a year ago for another day we talk about, but right down to, helping people with weight loss, even functional nutrition, all of that. A lot of stuff you offer. Amazing. I didn't know that you really have a focus on energy, which for me is a game changer. Energy is everything. Vibration is everything. Once you blend all of these modalities with that in mind, it changes everything. People could be harnessing generational trauma and not even know it, right?
Absolutely. And that's where the hypnotherapy and the coaching are really powerful. because there can be, we could do past life through that. It's not necessary, however, because clearing the vibration can actually clear everything. So it is all stored in the body.
Yep.
But all the different tools, different people, different tools. That's why would I learn all of this? And I go into the mastery level because I don't believe in horsing around. But a hammer's not always the right tool. So what is the best approach to a person? Where does that person resonate with treatment? The crazy thing if we can put our vibrational frequencies, if we can raise them, and meditation is really important. I discuss this a lot with my patients. It's also true. I'm also a big fan of paradox, so meditation is not important at all, but meditation can be really, really important, because being able to get to that stillness, for a person to get to be in touch with who they are, and that's one of the greatest things, that's one of the greatest gifts that I can give to a patient when they come in, is connecting them to themselves. So if we can get connected to ourselves, and as our vibration goes up, I love that you love supplements. I do nutrition response testing that is using supplements. I carry supplements, and I'm also aware that supplements, being that I carry them and sell them, there is a perverse incentive. So I actually try to rein in the amount that I push. And as a person goes up in terms of their vibration, I try to take them off of almost everything, because our bodies at the lower levels of consciousness, we definitely need the more physical intervention. But as we get better, it's actually taxing. And I'm a big fan of getting people off of everything, including supplements. Supplements are exceedingly powerful. Just because they're natural doesn't mean they're not powerful. And they're concentrated nutrition. You take a supplement that's got the equivalent of 50 beets in it or something like that. My body would need to process that every time. That's a lot.
Mm. I'll tell you, it's only been in my journey the last, say, 5 months. I finally got it to the point where I look forward to going home sometimes and doing nothing, just being still. Look forward to, I'm just going to get in my bed and think, and just call it meditation, if you will, but getting connected with oneself and the clarity, it's everything. And nobody talks about it. You don't realize it until you actually realize it. Wow. Lots for us to talk about in the future. This is wonderful. Amazing.
Thank you.
The energy connection to the other modalities, acupuncture and all of that. Tell us where you're located and the best way to find you.
Okay. Before I do that, real quick,
Sure.
I have got to recommend that you just try doing body awareness meditation. Like literally feel into your body where there's tightness, restriction, or holding. The body doesn't lie. And then if you feel it, don't be afraid to move. You don't have to be still as a corpse in meditation. Move, feel it, open it. We never listen to our body. We can connect and really hear and have a dialogue. It's a dance. The other thing is go dancing.
You know what? I want to share with you because that there's something there. My dad wasn't super close with him, and he passed when I was in my 20s. He said 3 things that he wasn't a very spiritual man, but these were the 3 things. To your point, learn how to breathe, learn how to dance, learn how to read. That was
there you go.
Life's lesson right there. And as I look back, he was right. The breathe thing, we don't breathe, and that's a whole other topic, but that leads you into meditation, or can. The dance thing, he loved to dance and read.
Yeah.
That's
and for real, and this could be another day, learn to love yourself.
Oh my gosh.
For Pete's sake, you don't love yourself, you cannot give love. You
100%.
cannot.
100%.
So Scarsdale Health and Wellness, and that's the website too. Scarsdalehealth.com is the website. I'm sorry. And I'm located across the street from the Chico's, next to Mrs. Green's, over in East Chester, Westchester County. So
got it.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you can do? Final question. Virtually.
Virtually, I can do the coaching and some of the energy work.
Gotcha.
So I can do coaching, I could do hypnosis, and I do quite a bit of coaching online for a multitude of conditions: depression, anxiety, spiritual, and I tend to really resonate with the tough cases, people who are analytical, people who have failed
Sure.
with everyone else, because when we get to my story, that was me.
I'm looking forward to it. That was the plan today, but we went different directions, and they were fantastic directions. Chris, great having you on here. Looking forward to learning so much more, and even at the least validating things that I've heard, and I'm sure others have heard. Hypnotherapy, that was my game changer, so I get it. That's how I figured it out. Thank you for today. Looking forward next time we get together.
Hey, thanks, Steve. Amazing call. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn those earrings today. I like those earrings. Gabby has those awesome earrings. I need to ask her where she got those, but that's just what she would want me to do. I'll have Michaela ask her for me.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Yeah, but then Michaela will be like, why don't you just ask her yourself? That's just like Michaela.
Sarah, buckle up.
Michaela's such a great name. I wish I was called Michaela. There's like a dozen Sarahs in my class.
Hey, we're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I forget sometimes because my brain is like busy, you know? I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
Sometimes it can be tough to get through to your kids, but it's not impossible. Always make sure they're wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Remember, you have the keys, you have the power. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.